What's good, y'all? Rich Sosa back in a building with another banger. Now, first things first, before we get started today, I gotta go ahead and say thank God for another day and another opportunity. Now, as y'all can see from the looks of the title and the screen, today I'm gonna be bringing y'all a fan favorite basketball player in NBA 2K23 on next gen. Now, this build is going to come out to a Stretch Monroe build from NBA Street, and this build is going to be playable in NBA 2K23 on next gen. Now, today with this build, we're going to be able to get anywhere from 70 to 80 badges off rip, and then when it comes down to our takeovers, we get the slashing, playmaking, rim protecting with glass cleaning. Now, this build, I'm telling y'all, one of the best replications that we can make of Stretch Monroe, but when it comes down to our animations, with this build, we're going to be able to get elite contact dunks, pro dribble moves, as well as the big man standing contact dunks. Now, when it comes down to our attributes, this build is really special in a lot of areas, but I cannot go without saying that we're going to be able to get a 100 plus when it comes down to our driving dunk, our layup, standing dunk, ball handle, interior defense, block, as well as our defensive rebound. Now, if you want to make any adjustments along the way, you can definitely go ahead and do so, but without further ado, if it's your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new, smash that like button, turn on post notifications to be a part of the Rich family, and last but definitely not least, comment down TG for thank God and where you're tuning in from, and I most definitely will be sure to hit y'all back with the response. So from here, let's get into the breakdown of the build. Now, the first thing that we need to do is put it under the power forward position. Now, everything is going to be really essential when it comes down to following along. Then when it comes down to our height, I'm going to go with 6'10". As for our weight, I'm going to drop this to 210. And then for the wingspan, I'm going to leave this at 7'3". Now, when it comes down to the breakdown of the body shape, this really comes down to your own personal preference. I'm going to go ahead and leave it as solid, and from here, we're going to be all set to move forward with this build. So to get started, when it comes down to our close shot, I'm going to put this to a 67. As for when it comes down to our layup, I'm going to go with an 84. Now, when it comes down to the driving dunk, we're going to be able to get elite contact dunks, so put this to a 93. And then as for when it comes down to the standing dunk, I'm going to go ahead and put this all the way up to a 90 for the standing contact dunks. Now, as for the post control, for badge purposes, I'm going to go ahead and put this up to a 67. And right there we get a total of 23 badges. Now, just off rip, I like Giant Slayer, Pro Touch, Slithery with Limitless Takeoff, Fearless Finisher, and then my favorite badge out of this entire area is actually going to be Posterizer on the gold tier. Now, this all comes down to how you want to go about the setup and see it for yourself. Now, if you want to make adjustments to get higher tiers of other badges, go ahead and do so. But as for when it comes down to the offensive end, I think we're off to a great start. Now, this build, it really reminds me of Stretch Monroe, especially when it comes down to the offensive end. As for when it comes down to our mid-range shot, I'm going to go ahead and put this up to a 71. And like I said earlier, these numbers will be adjustable to your own playstyle. Now, when it comes down to the three-point shot, I decided to go with the 70. And then as for our free throw, to be sure that we can take this build into any game mode, I'm going to go with the 70 for a total of 13 badges. Now, when it comes down to this area, I like Amped, also Mini Magician, Space Creator with Volume Shooter, and then we get Green Machine, Agent 3, and honestly, with the takeovers, it's going to play a huge effect with this build. So now when it comes down to the playmaking, I'm going to put the pass accuracy to a 70. As for our ball handle, I'm going to go ahead and put this up to an 80. And then as for the speed with the ball, go with the 71. And we're going to be able to still maintain some of the pro dribble moves. Now when it comes down to the playmaking, I like Hyperdrive, killer combos with handles for days, also quick first step, and then for tier 3, I'm really focused on Silver Unpluckable. Now, this just about wraps us up when it comes down to the offensive end. As for the defensive, I'm going to go ahead and put my interior all the way up to an 80. As for when it comes down to our block, I'm going to go with the 93. And then as for when it comes down to the defensive and offensive rebound, go ahead and put that defensive all the way up to an 82. And then when it comes down to the offensive, go with the 73. And I'm telling y'all, this is mainly going to be for badge purposes. But if you wanted to, you can definitely go ahead and put it into any other area when it comes down to this defensive set. For example, the perimeter defense or the steal is another option, but I really believe we're going to have the best layout for the defensive end with the attributes and the way that I put them. Now, when it comes down to the 20 badges, we're going to be able to still get post lockdown, glove, interceptor with workhorse, then we get chase down artist on Hall of Fame, box out beast with anchor, and rebound chaser. Now, once we go ahead and get into the physicals, make sure you go with the 76 when it comes down to our speed. As for the acceleration, I'm going to go with the 77. I want it to be balanced on the inside, so for my strength, I'm going to go with the 74. 82 when it comes down to the vertical. And then as for the stamina, I'm going to go with the minimum threshold of an 85 to a 90. Now, this is what the build is going to be looking like overall. And if you wanted to make any adjustments, make sure you go ahead and do it after we create the build together. Now, with the takeovers, we get the slashing, playmaking, rim protecting, and the glass cleaning. So however you decide to go about this setup, base it off of your own playstyle. Now, for my best interest to get the most out of the playmaking for this build, first I would go with playmaking takeover. The second one, I would pick between see the future takeover, paint intimidation, as well as finishing moves or advanced gathers. Now, this all comes down to how you want to go about this today. I'm going to go ahead and say that I think paint intimidation is going to be best. And moving forward, let's go ahead and check out the build name to make sure that we made it correctly. And if you followed every single step of the way, we should be getting these three comparisons. And as y'all can see, we have created together Stretch Monroe in NBA 2K23 on next gen from NBA Street. Now look, let me know what y'all think about this build down below right now. I did say it was going to come out to an interior finisher, and you can really consider it to be a catfish because of what we're able to do, not only on the offensive end, but how well we're able to also be a defender. Now, something to take into consideration, if you buy your own boost towards this build, that's going to be a +5. Then the better we play, our stats are also gradually going to raise. And if you do run with a teammate that has on Hall of Fame floor general, that's going to be another +4. And then from our takeovers, 2 separate ones means we get a +10 towards 2 separate areas. Just to give y'all an idea of the true potential of this build. But now from here, let's get into the breakdown of the badges. Now, as for the finishing area, I'm going to go ahead and first pick Silver Fearless Finisher. And then from there, Gold Core Posterizer, Rise Up, Limitless Takeoff, Slithery with Hall of Fame Pro Touch. Now, this area for the finishing, definitely go about it to your own liking. I think for this setup of badges, it's definitely the best to get the most out of the contact dunks. Now, when it comes down to the shooting, I decided to go with Bronze Claymore, Agent 3, Silver Core Green Machine, Space Crater, also Mini Magician, Amped with Gold Volume Shooter. Now, if you want to make any adjustments towards this area, go ahead and do so. Even if you wanted to go with any tier 3 badge, that's another option that I would consider. But here's going to be a few different jump shots that we can pick and recreate from, just to give y'all an idea of what this build is actually going to be able to do. But moving forward, when it comes down to the playmaking, I'm going to go with Bronze Handles for Days, Core Unpluckable with Silver Vice Grip, Quick First Step, Killer Combos, Clamp Breaker, and Hyperdrive. Now, with this build from the gameplay, you already seen that we're still going to be able to ISO. Not only that, but also be effective with the ball in our hands. Now, when it comes down to the defensive end, I'm going to go ahead and put on Bronze Interceptor, Glove, Rebound Chaser with Silver Post Lockdown, Gold Box Out Beast, Core Anchor, and Hall of Fame Chase Down Artist. Now, this is what the build is going to be looking like entirely. Let me know down below, what did y'all think about today's Stretch Monroe build, also known as the interior finisher? And I just want to say thank you to those of y'all who did make it this far into the video. And if it was your first time coming through, be sure to hit that sub button if you're new. Smash that like button, turn on post notifications to be a part of the Rich family. And last but definitely not least, Comment down TG for thank God and where you're tuning in from, and I most definitely will be sure to hit y'all back with a response. And with all that being said though, I got one last thing to say. Rich out.